Okay, and welcome to the second lecture in Chapter 13. When is a juvenile a juvenile? This has got to be a short lecture because it's a micro lecture, it's 5 minutes, but I mean this is a topic that you could spend your life studying because this really has to do with the creation intellectually, emotionally, physically, psychologically of a human being, taking them from the moment of birth to the moment of death. So we can ask certain questions. The adult system, of course, is designed to punish. That seems to be the primary motivation in the American criminal justice system, retribution. The juvenile system, however, is much more centered on the idea of reform. And I think this points out that there is some difference we see between an adult and a juvenile. So what distinguishes them? Now, we recognize under the law the concept of infancy. Now, it's not infancy as the word is commonly used. It's infancy in the sense of usually under the age of 6, you cannot be charged with a crime. And then we have come to the realization that somewhere between the ages of 6 and adulthood, whatever that is, that you develop responsibility. So the juvenile is between the extremes of the adult who we deem to be responsible and the infant who we deem to not be responsible for their acts. So what options could we look at here? Well, one of the things we can do is use age as our determinative factor. But age is a very arbitrary idea. Why pick age? Why not pick, if we're talking about a physiological attribute of a human being? Why age? Why not say height matters more? Or weight should matter more? Weight of the brain? Or does a person's biological age really reflect if they're a fully developed person? Don't we recognize people with mental difficulties not being responsible even though they have attained the age? So are we just making this assumption, and these are questions you need to ask, that age should be the way in which we define? Okay, well, the next one is, okay, well, let's talk about intellectual development. Let's say, they're a fully formed adult intellectually, cognitive functions. Now, obviously, they're gained, and we'll see a graph at the end of this quick treatment, but what are you focusing on? Is it the ability to reason? If you think about how you reasoned as a child, and how you reasoned as an adult? Is it the ability to remember or to perceive, or having remembered and perceived, you comprehend? So again, the absence of these things can lead to different treatments. If a person didn't perceive what happened and committed an act, they're very often not liable. If they can't comprehend what went on, they're not liable. So what about physical development? Well, some societies focus on the onset of puberty. So is the sexual capacity the dividing line between what a child is and an adult? Is a woman when she can produce an offspring? Is a man when he can produce an offspring? Is it development of the physical capability for independent action? And this goes back to the idea of viability. If we look at when is you a human being at first? Is it the development of the brain? And this is a very difficult thing to measure. Can you measure maturity? In fact, can you measure intelligence? Okay, the last quick thing, and again, this is just a 5-minute lecture to look at, is emotional development. So emotional development of all these things we've talked about, I left it for last, is one of the hardest things to measure. Indeed, some people don't develop certain emotions. Classically, the asocial personality disorder, what we used to refer to as psychopaths, never really develop a strong sense of empathy. So there are certain emotions that we have as a child, and then when we have an adult, we have more or immature emotions. And if you don't have these, does that mean you're less responsible? All these questions in this 5-minute quick micro, or something for you to think about. It's something for you to really ask fundamental questions on. But for now, I hope you enjoyed it.